Hello, everyone. Thanks for giving us your time today for our mini VR games cast. I'm Ian Hamilton in New York, joined by Don Hopper in Missouri as we discuss what people are playing in VR headsets. We're in Quest 3 headsets, and each of us has last generation meta avatars. So Don's skin has been kept on meta servers. They're keeping
They're
it
holding it
somewhere.
hostage.
Yeah, we'll try to get our hands on his skin eventually, and we'll try to get that bug fixed in the new year. Until then, his skin tones are being kept at Meta headquarters. We're using hand tracking. We've got built-in microphones, and this is a pre-recorded episode as we discuss the best in VR this week. So yesterday, go check out that episode. We had some of our favorite moments of VR. We focused on specific platforms: best PC VR game, best Quest game, best Apple Vision Pro game, and best exploratory VR experience. We had all of those yesterday. That was Astra, Thrasher, Batman Arkham Shadow for best Quest game, Underdogs for best PC VR game. So we wanted to cover platform specific things yesterday, get those out of the way, and focus on some of those really outstanding efforts individually on a platform specific perspective. And this today, we wanted to focus on this new category or these
Oh
new
yeah,
categories, depending on how you want to look at it. So mixed reality content and hand tracking content. And then tomorrow we will get into virtual reality content and the sort of hardcore legacy stuff where you've got the most learnings happening, right? People have been learning from VR development for a decade now. But the stuff we're going to cover today, mixed reality hand tracking, we're still talking about the cutting edge year one work, right?
oh yeah,
Some of the stuff
yeah.
we're going to award today or recognize today, we hope to hear in 5, maybe even 10 years. We hope to see some iterations on, or some other developer has incorporated their work if this product still isn't around that long. But these are outstanding works in hand tracking and mixed reality. So let's get into it, Don.
Absolutely.
First one, best mixed reality game. What are we awarding here?
So, Ian, more than anybody, I have been diving into mixed reality all year. I mean, it has been the big thing for me. And there have been a lot of great titles that have come out, and the quality has just built up over every release. It just seems to be developers are starting to get their footing in mixed reality. We're starting to see some incredible experimentation. So, first, I want to give an honorable mention, and then I'm going to tell you what our best mixed reality game is. So, my honorable mention is Skyrunner. And I got to tell you, that is so fun. And I have had just an immense amount of pleasure playing with these little drones all over my house, rescuing, doing the little rescue scenarios, building custom courses to race through. So, really awesome there. If you haven't checked it out, go look at our coverage. And if you have a Quest 3, Quest 3S, grab a copy of Skyrunner and you will not be disappointed. But the one mixed reality game this year that I really can say that was just hit on a lot of cylinders, Spatial Ops. And, it's got single player, it's got multiplayer, it's got co-located multiplayer. You can go rent big spaces with your friends. I mean, this is the new laser tag. This is the new paintball right here in mixed reality headsets. So, Spatial Ops, hands down, best mixed reality game 2024.
Yeah, we went back and forth on a little discussion there. There's a Starship Home came out late in the year as one of these innovative new experiences trying to embrace the platform. And we hope to see a lot more
Oh,
in
yes,
2025 as devs kind of hone their work and really expand what they
absolutely.
can do with these tools. Our last game, last category. So let's give everyone the categories we're discussing
Oh,
today
yeah, yeah.
again. So we just discussed the best mixed reality game. Next, we're going to get into best interactive mixed reality app. Then we've got best hand tracking game of 2024, best early access hand tracking game of 2024, best early access mixed reality app, and then our most anticipated of 2025. So I love we got to talk about the most anticipated when we end
Hmm.
off this segment,
Oh yeah.
because these tools are still developing, right? Like
Oh
the
God, yes.
devs are having to deal with tools that are changing under them from release to release.
We're seeing the birth of a whole new platform. As exciting as it was back in the early days of Oculus, when we were seeing those early experimentations on Oculus Share in virtual reality, we're kind of now seeing the same thing through App Lab releases in mixed reality. And it has been an amazing year watching the developers grow and sometimes even struggle and overcome some obstacles with the tracking technology and the tools that they've been given. So, 2025, we've got to mention our most anticipated, because there has been a lot on our plates this year. But in 2025, I think we get ready to feast. I really
Yeah.
do.
Well, all right. So we covered spatial ops first, right? Like that's a traditional genre, shooting genre being adapted
Hmm.
for mixed reality. But the thing that I love about everything else we have on today's discussion here is how new and different it all feels.
Oh, yeah.
The future being brighter and different than anything that has come before. And honestly, like we've done an incredible job this year in talking to the devs that we're about to discuss.
Mhm.
Some of them are regular viewers of our show, debuted some work in our showcases. Right before I came into our studio today, I got this email from Zach Chikalis Brown, the creator of Vertigo 2, as well as Vertigo Remastered, a
Mhm.
very young developer who's been working more than a decade in VR games from when he was 13 years old on the DK1. We've had him in the studio to go over his journey, and he announced with us Into the Ether coming next year.
Oh,
So
so
we had
excited.
that in our showcase just recently, and you could see the improvement from trailer to trailer and from release to release in the quality of the development he's getting to in there. So there's a cool grappling hook coming there in that DLC early next year. And I just got this email from him that my collector's edition, or like the art book, I think that is in the collector's edition, has just shipped. I ordered
Oh,
those
nice.
from what he announced in our showcase. So I can't wait to look through that art book. That's a
Yeah.
single dev doing all of the art, all the music, everything in their game. And that's when we go through the rest of these devs on this list, they're very small teams.
Oh, they are.
They're
Oh, they are.
like, and we're going to be talking about the very cutting edge of what people can do with a VR headset with mixed reality capabilities as we go through all of these. And so I need to bring this home to our viewers again and again and again. Support indie devs,
Please.
buy their games multiple times, buy their games for your friends to get them in. They need extra support. They don't have the marketing teams of these giant outlets out there. They hope for community support. They hope to build a following of just genuine people who can give them real feedback about their games. And we're trying to build on
God,
that here at
yes.
UploadVR with a dialogue going with our audience day in and day out on what we liked, what we didn't, what could be improved. And a bunch of the devs here on these next
Absolutely.
few, we've been giving that dialogue nonstop.
Ian,
So
the passion and what they pour into these works of art, and these are works of art, some of these, is just outstanding to me. And so to see small development teams, to see solo developers, to hear stories like Zach's starting at 13 years old on a DK1, and fostering his entire development career throughout VR, that just, man, I tell you what, that's heartwarming. That
yeah.
is just.
And that's our next award here is let's talk about best interactive mixed reality app. So this
Oh
is
yeah.
going to one that you pushed for and then one I pushed for as
Oh
soon
yeah.
as I got it on my head and really tried it on a new platform. So what is this, Don?
This is Figment XR. And yes, I got to tell you, I am so glad that you jumped on the Figment train and got in there and checked it out. I am so happy to see Javier bringing this to Apple Vision Pro in what is he is calling, and what you and everyone else supposedly who has tried it, I have not, is calling the best version of Figment. Guys, this is it. If you are looking for a mixed reality sandbox where you can play and build and experience and enjoy, it is Figment. This is, and I think we coined it a couple of episodes back that this is the best mixed reality app on all platforms. Period.
Interactive,
And
I
that's
think,
what
was
we're
one of the
saying right here.
qualifiers
Or
there. Is we
interactive,
want
yeah.
to, yeah, because there's other things that are like laid back
Well, this
storytelling,
is true.
and
Yeah.
that's not. This is very. This is multiple objects around you being
Oh God.
manipulated in real time.
But
Creative tools.
co-location, I mean, there's just so much. I mean, I go in there sometimes and just make video screens. I mean, just make big video screens, just sit in there, do my work. I've got a web app over here. I've got a video screen over there. It's what we have envisioned mixed reality becoming, the ability to place these objects all over your house. So,
Let's check. Let me look at the calendar here and think about this. Yeah, so this game will have just come out on Apple Vision Pro. So
mhm,
the Figment XR uh, with eye tracking and hand tracking
mhm.
is now available for $20 on Quest headsets, and it's $20. Sorry, $20 on Apple Vision Pro with the hand tracking
Yes.
and the eye tracking. Then you can also get it with just the hand tracking or controller tracking over on Quest headsets, but priced to parity. And, if you've been frustrated with your Apple Vision Pro purchase this year and like you haven't had a good software experience, you go and you get this installed, and then if you happen to have a Quest 3 or a 3S around, I think it might even work with a Quest 2. We have a Quest 3 out, get two people into a headset, co-locate the headsets so that the scene center in both Figment XR and both devices in the same spot, and then just hand digital objects to people,
Oh
get into
gosh,
a little
so great.
sandbox with somebody else and enjoy just a playground. Like it's really wonderful how that brings out that creative side of you. And I've
Well,
seen it in some of our comments where people are like, this game is just not their vibe. They're not looking for a sandbox. They want to go shooty. Okay,
mhm.
go shooty.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
sandbox is amazing.
No, and okay, so and what really is still blowing me away, we have co-located this between a Vision Pro and a Quest 3.
Yeah,
How many other apps are going to let you do that?
you're
I
handing
mean,
objects from a Meta headset to an Apple headset and
I
back
know.
again, right? Like it's a dream come true to have that kind of
Yes.
digital
Yes.
openness. This is like a device independent platform Figment XR is, and there's a lot more they can do with it. We've talked about it elsewhere, and I just want to repeat it here. The things that Figment XR does, a lot of the things they do. Um, I'm going to quote Palmer Luckey here. Palmer Luckey, when I interviewed him very early on in the journey, I want to say 2013 is when he gave me this quote. He said something to the effect of, a lot of the things we're doing weren't invented by us, they were invented by other people. We happen to just live in the right decade to make it happen.
Ooh, I love that.
That was his quote to me sometime in the early 2010s about what Oculus was doing and why they had this pitch. And I think I ran that quote, maybe it was early 2014, right before Facebook swept in and acquired what they were doing at Oculus. And that's what I feel like with Figment, that uh, tilt brush is in there. That wasn't invented by them. It was invented by other people.
Mhm.
But it's now coming home to eye tracking, and it's coming home to hand tracking, and it feels magical when that interface that you were promised when you saw Minority Report of the guy flinging around the windows,
Mhm.
the joking videos that we saw when Apple Vision Pro came out of people walking down the street and supposedly throwing windows out in front of them that weren't actually happening, like they
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
influencers taking fake videos. This is what Figment actually delivers
Mhm.
really for you. Actually feel like you're this kind of creator able to manipulate all of these objects around you in real time. So I love it, and I hope the vibes you can get for going into some of these creations, right? You've loaded up some of these scenes
Uh-huh.
at Figma and just started dancing, right?
Yep, some of the scenes are just great. I mean, the mesmerizing, uplifting, dancing. I mean, you name it. There is just so much to do in that app. We could literally spend the next 2, 3 hours, and we wouldn't even scratch the surface of what you could do in that app.
Yeah, so go get Figma XR, try, download that on your platform of choice, get co-located, explore the tools, check it out. That is an incredible app, and our best interactive mixed reality app of 2024. Been in development for a very long time, and kind of just it's a good example of why we kind of have to like blow the rule book apart
Oh
when
yeah,
it comes to when a game releases or when a project releases. If it gets a massive update 6 years later, you got to give credit where
oh
it's
you
due
got to,
to the
you got
work
to.
going through that year. So Figment XR continues to get bigger and better. We can't wait to see what happens in the future. I'm very excited about this next
Oh,
award,
me too.
Don.
Me too.
This
Yeah,
one has been a long time coming. This is also a debut project that we had in our showcase event. They debuted their full version was finally coming and got a date on it during our showcase this summer. And it's not even through the end of 2024, and they've already got their first big content update. This is our best hand tracking game of 2024. I'm guessing they've already figured out in the comments what it's going to be,
probably.
Don. What is it?
Well, it is definitely Maestro. And I've said it on other Gamescast episodes. It is the first game that I want to put my controllers down and truly play with my hand. I know we talked about it on Gamescast just a couple of days ago, where I picked up a chopstick and even added more to the immersion in the game. Guys, this game redefines rhythm gaming in VR for me. It is not slashing blocks. It's not. It's something different. It just takes it to a different level, and you just feel that stage presence, and you're there. And I'm conducting the orchestra with the DLC that just dropped this week, and I was very surprised at how quickly, like you mentioned, that DLC came out after the full release of the game. It feels like I just reviewed the full release just the other day, and now we're checking out the DLC. But with the DLC, they have added the music of Harry Potter, Fantasia, all sorts of magical stuff, the Coven environment. So this is as I said on Gamescast, I feel the beginning of a whole new platform for rhythm gaming, and I want to see more DLC. I want to see more licensed content. It is just sky's the limit with this game.
Yeah, so this is coming from a French development studio. I think it's called Double Jack,
Double
and
Jack.
then
Hmm.
Creature is the label that sort of helped them see this into full release. And I don't know what magic has happened there between Creature and Double Jack, but I need to call it out and mention it because if Don's right that this is the beginning of a new phase in rhythm gaming, this is a studio and a work that's going to pay off handsomely over
Hmm.
its lifespan. We kind of hinted at it over on the games cast, but there is potential here for Maestro to be bigger than Beat Saber. That seems ridiculous to say.
It sounds, but I can see
You
it.
can rip it apart and disagree with me. Maybe I'm wrong,
No,
but
no,
I
I
think
don't
it has that
disagree with you.
potential.
I actually agree with you. Because it is rhythm gaming on a different level, and it's fresh. It is not what we've seen for the last several years.
Hmm.
So I cannot wait to see where Double Jack and Creature take this in the future. Again, I want more John Williams. I want, just every musical score from every movie that's ever moved me, the music of Dune, the music of Star Wars, conducting James Horner's Wrath of Khan. I mean, it is just something that speaks to me on a personal level, and also shows me that we are innovating in the VR rhythm genre by bringing in tight hand tracking.
Yeah, we didn't really make space for it on our awards this year, but I Am Cat is
Hmm.
not mixed reality, but it is role play.
It is role
And
play.
the 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 similarity there in Maestro really making you feel like you're this conductor,
Mhm.
and I Am Cat really making you meow out in your living room
Embodiment.
just because you
Yeah.
feel, yeah, you're embodied and you're an awful little terrible cat doing awful things around your living room. And you're also really like, you're leaning into this idea that the French really want to be entertained by you, right?
I
Like,
guess.
you've got to deliver for their snooty
Oh,
audiences out
yes.
there and
Yes,
and
yes.
not get destroyed.
You do not want the bad social media commentary at the end of a performance by any means. No. So,
So I want to, yeah, I just want to recognize role play as this beautiful area of VR that is growing and growing into itself this year. We had things like Asgard's Wrath last year that you did role play in there, and you tried to
a
step
little
into
bit.
this barbarian role play, but something, it's not the same. It's not
It's not.
this
No.
turning around and bowing for the audience has this
I do that every
visceral,
time.
like,
I
immediate
do
thing,
that
right?
every time instinctively because you have to end it. But I mean, I love the fact that you have to turn and bow to the audience. You don't have to bow, you just have to turn. But I instinctively bow to the audience every time. I don't know why.
All right, let's talk about the next one. We've got, what, three more on
We got,
today's
yeah,
awards, and then
yeah, we
a
do.
reminder to everyone, we'll be back tomorrow to go over our VR awards, and then go check the ones from yesterday as we discussed all the
Hmm.
platform-specific
And
awards.
this is just a tie in to what we were just talking about. We're just going to shift gears and talk about the best early access hand tracking.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a whole new space, whole new type of content, and we thought it was a good idea to award an early access game here. So which early access game are we
Well,
awarding?
it's definitely been one of our favorites this year since it came out, and that is Airspace Defender. And I got to say, Not Suspicious has done an amazing job at bringing one of my favorite arcade games from back in the day to life in mixed reality. So if you have not played this, this is a kind of a reimagining of Missile Command, and it is just absolutely fantastic. You just sit there on your couch or your favorite comfy chair. You got your little city in front of you. You've got the missiles coming in, and you just pinch and pinch and pinch. And you've got new weapons in the latest update that you have to time out. So if you want something that I consider one of those just great to drop in and play without having to commit to, a long gaming session, or you just want something to relax at the end of a hard day, man, get Airspace Defender. It will suck you in and you will be pinching little missiles for hours.
Yeah. We'd love to see that one develop. We hope they have a very long path ahead of them where they can add a lot of depth to that game.
Absolutely.
Um, that was one of the ones we debuted in our showcase over the summer, and then they showed up near the end of the year with a whole bunch of updates. And that's just 6 months of
Hmm.
progress. We hope that they could spend a lot more time on that. So go and check that game out on the store, support them, and if you like what they do, gift it to friends, check it
Oh,
out. It's a very
absolutely.
cool one. And these are legitimate. So these two categories, right? We had best hand tracking game of 2024 and best early access hand tracking game of 2024. We essentially had to invent these categories this year. And this is the first real year that I felt like it's really
Yeah.
warranted, that the
Yeah.
content is good enough, unique enough. It's different enough from when you've got a controller in your hand on some of these things. And even the definitions of things like whether a mixed reality game or a hand tracking game, some are both, some
Yeah.
are one or the other. Like, this is hard to try to quantify everything, but we can definitely attest, right? Airspace Defender is really cool with
Oh,
hand
God. Yeah.
tracking.
Yeah.
Maestro is absolutely incredible as a hand tracking experience. Figment XR is really, really neat on whatever platform you're using, whether you've got controllers in your hand or not. And then Spatial Ops, really, really
Hmm.
cool gaming experience there. So just this whole category, everything we're covering today is changing of the guard. type content, I think.
It is. It is. The landscape is changing, Ian. It is. We are starting to see so much cool experimentation that is now coming out of the experimental phase and going into the prototyping phase.
Mm,
And it's like we're starting to see those experiments like Airspace Defender come to life. And it is just a phenomenal time in mixed reality. And looking forward to 2025, I cannot even imagine some of the cool stuff that we're about to see.
yep. So we've also got best early access mixed reality app.
Hmm.
So we covered the best interactive mixed reality app, Figment XR, that's been in development for many years and just achieved its sort of best version so far on Apple Vision Pro. But here we've got an early access mixed reality app. What is it, Don?
We this was definitely another one that was up for debate, but I think we all totally agreed it has to be Pencil. And Pencil is just one of those apps that it has so much utility and so much enjoyment factor at the same time. I mean, I've never been able to draw in my whole life. Everything I draw looks like a horrible stick figure. Now I can place my controller on a piece of paper, put that piece of paper on my desk, and have someone guide me through how to draw things. And really, after doing it a few times, my drawing has gotten better. Like if I have to illustrate something, because I'm taking my time a little bit more, and I'm kind of almost remembering my pencil lessons in a way. So,
Yeah, so one of our awards that we'll get into on our last segment of this awards tour is we'll have the best VR hardware of
oh
2024.
yeah.
So that was a discussion between David Heaney and I on what obviously Apple Vision Pro and Quest 3 both came out this year at completely different ends of the spectrum,
Hmm.
price wise, capability wise, even though they're both the same category of device. They do so many different things versus one or the other, but it never ceases to amaze me. So come back to that,
Oh God,
come
yeah,
back as we
yeah.
have that discussion about VR and where we landed on Apple Vision Pro versus Quest 3S. But I want to bring that up right now because the fact that you can use Pencil
Hmm.
on a $300 device, you can imagine a kid going out there to their parents and saying, "This is actually an education tool for me, mom and dad, that I can learn how to draw, I can learn how to program in a game in an app like Godot, I can learn
Hmm.
how to,
This is
become
true.
a game engine developer. There's Piano Vision, there are math learning apps, there's a whole bunch of tools to learn lots and lots of different things." And that's like until you've got an app like Pencil that's that you can just show a video to mom and dad and say, "Mom and dad, like I will learn how to draw for you. I'll sketch out for you 50 things in my
There you
first
go.
week, right? If you go and get me the Quest 3S, please, mom and dad, please get me the Quest 3S, right?" Like you can imagine the conversation
Oh yeah.
and people have made those, people have made those pitches for Chromebooks, they've made them for iPads, they've made them for MacBooks, they've made them for various personal electronics over the years, but they haven't been able to make those cases for VR headsets because it's all been games, 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 games,
Hmm.
games until now, and Pencil sort of changes that.
Yeah, no, and I just a little honorable mention, like side honorable mention. You mentioned Piano Vision. That's another one that I really do enjoy in the fact that I feel I could probably peck out some very very basic tunes on a piano now just from playing that app.
Just after a few seconds, yep.
Hmm.
And you've got to combine it with musical theory. You've got to go learn all those things like you did through your school.
Hmm.
But like you can imagine all of education changing around
Oh,
the
big time.
reality of simulation being available as cheaply and as high quality as it is with things like this. So
I mean, it's
uh,
it's definitely something to look forward to in the future. I mean, education, VR, MR, it's a match made in heaven. But you know what else we should talk about that we look forward in the future? Most anticipated of 2025.
yep, that was a good transition there, Don. I love that. Yeah, so we've got this our last category for today to discuss. Again, tune in tomorrow as we discuss the best in VR. Last, yesterday we discussed all of our favorite sort of platform specific games. Today we're discussing all the hand tracking and mixed reality. And this last one of this category for today was, I think the dev themselves felt felt worse about delaying this out of 2024 than anyone who's played it felt about him
Hmm.
delaying it out of 2024, because
Yeah,
this game is definitely coming at least next year, because the platform isn't ready, right? Mixed
it's
reality
not.
as a platform isn't ready to support the quality of this game, what it's asking people to do. So, Don, what is this game and what is it asking people to do?
I'm going to start off by saying I applaud Thomas for his decision, and the game is Laser Dance. This game is going to heavily rely on spatial anchors in your room, and unfortunately, right now they're not solid enough for what Thomas wants to do with this game. And in this game, if you have ever seen movies like Entrapment, things like that, if you're not familiar with what Laser Dance is going to be, you are going to basically Catherine Zeta Jones yourself through laser grids to get to the end and press a button. And I got to tell you, it seems super simple, but from people who have demoed it, from people who I've talked to who know it, I know Ian has played it. It is something magical about this game, something magical about contorting yourself through these lasers. So I know you've had a little bit of experience in that. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I've seen some copycat apps out there trying to
Oh, I have.
recreate
Yeah.
what he's doing here, but Thomas Van Bowel has gone straight to talk to the engineers at Meta to tell them what he needs, because he needs some very specific things to work really, really well. So what you do in this game is you set up a button on one side of the room, you set up a button on the other side of the room, you establish where these buttons are going to be on your walls, and then the game establishes a laser maze through your room according to various patterns. And there should be a path for you through these patterns from one end to the other. So I cleared out a hallway at my house and pulled all the furniture out of it. And I set up one button on my front door, set up another button on the door to my office. And I let my kid go wild in an early demo of this. And he played through every single demo level that Thomas had built into this game and pulled it off. 15 minutes later, looked at me and said, "Where's the rest of the game?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, all right, I'm going to go back. He put the headset back on and he went through the maze again. This is that the floor is lava concept of a game.
Mm-hmm.
This is up there with just core memory, what we've wanted
Mm-hmm.
out of VR gaming. And unless those buttons stay anchored exactly where they're supposed to be on either wall for a couple hours, this game isn't going to work.
No,
And so
it cannot
that's what we
move.
need to see.
Yeah, it's got to be solid, and unfortunately, I mean, we have seen developers. I know we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the best mixed reality apps. We've seen developers struggle with this over the course of the year. I know one big one was Starship Home. It was such a wonderful game and a cool story and a narrative. And what killed it for me was the fact that it just couldn't stay solid. That things
Hmm.
disappeared beyond my walls, and that's not the fault of the developer. This is the tools that they're given to work with at this point in time. So
So that's
now,
why, as you just described, exactly why it's our most anticipated, right? We
yeah,
want the tools
exactly.
to get better. We want this game on headsets, and then you start building this collection in your mind. You go down Maestro,
Hmm.
Laser Dance, which of course I think these are both creature games, and
Yes.
you start imagining games that anchor a whole different class of headset. Like one things I love about VR, right? You have a big screen beyond which has no cameras on it, and it's the slimmest, smallest, pure VR device on the market. Or you slap on a whole bunch of cameras and a whole bunch of computer vision and do a whole bunch of processing, and then merge the views from the computer vision cameras with the virtual content, and suddenly you've got a new category of device. Well, that's great, but the big screen beyond is great too. Like the device that just focuses on VR is really, really neat as well,
Absolutely.
even though mixed reality is such a cool mode of play, and so is hand tracking and all of that as well. All right. I think that's it for today's
Yeah.
mini Gamescast episode. Don, is there anything else you want to
No, I
discuss
think,
about these games?
Ian, I think we've covered all of the things that we wanted to award today, and I think we've covered a little bit more than that. And as always, I just want to thank everybody for watching today, and encourage everybody to come back tomorrow when we give our best of awards on another mini games cast this week, and then following that, if possible, we're going to try to stream some Alien. So
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Well, come back tomorrow. Go hit the like button on this stream. And yeah, tune in for Best Virtual Reality tomorrow. If you didn't go check out yesterday's stream where we talked about the individual choices, go check that out. Of course, tune in to VR Download when David and I are able to do that. And then Don Hopper and I will be back on Tuesdays to discuss all the latest games in VR. Although we have Christmas coming up, so our schedules are going to be wonky. That's why we're doing a
yeah.
bunch of pre-recording right now. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow for the best of virtual reality.
See you guys.